Hello and welcome back to the exciting continuation of the 2023 European Championships. We are excited to bring you this Round 1 Back 9 FPO feature card coverage brought to you by MDG Media. We are here in Tallinn, Estonia on a grand spectacle of a course full of challenges for the best players in Europe to come and represent their countries. I'm Connor Wood, happy to be joining you for this prestigious event. And as we take a look at the top 10 standings through the front 9 on our card, Kristin Tattar taking the solo lead. Rachel tied for 4th. We saw from Hanna some struggles as well as some great throws, and Henna as well on a little bit of a roller coaster of a ride. As we see some score separation early for our feature card. We kick off the back 9 here on hole 10, a par 4 at 193 meters. This hole really does require 2 good placement shots. You want to push the distance as much as you can off the tee without ensuring that you find any trouble, as you then on your second shot hope to navigate into this guarded green. You see the trees offering both a width and a ceiling gap to hit. Nice and tucked away here with, of course, OB long. And we see Kristin Tattar getting us started here. Your current leader with a great line drive. Anything near that drop zone there is no problem at all. In fact, it's a great spot. She has found herself in the sweet spot to look to attack for birdie. Henna as well with some great speed to her shot and a piercing line, even flipping the catch cam. Look at her distance on display there. Some great effortless form from her. Hanna using a touch more understability gets a nice turnover, but actually quite a stable finish to her flight there. Looking very nice. She is center fairway. And Rachel, not pleased with that shot, going to be pushing the left side OB very early on. And unclear whether or not she was able to cross back to safety, but not pleased with her line. And we'll kick it off with Hanna here. Still quite some distance left to attack the green. Does have the driver in her hands. As she looks to get aggressive. Some nice progress, makes her way to the edge of the tree line. Still a long look from there, but just that, it's a look. And Rachel actually in quite a good position. A deceptive result. Apologies. She did go OB to that left side. Playing from here now. We see her push that big hyzer into the green. And getting shut down. You saw she gave that quite a lot of height. I think certainly trying to get as close as possible, if not throw it in outright. We'll see Kristin now had fired just past that drop zone. And in an ideal spot. A great height on this hyzer, and you see the pure integrity of that hyzer angle, giving her the skip and flare left as well at the end. Really nice controlled approach with the higher speed disc into the green from Kristin, and Henna so far off the drive. She has effectively a straight look. She can play the hyzer if she chooses to, and she does. Going to be contending more with the branches with the height of the hyzer, but able to fight through those, no problem. She is up there putting for birdie. Gets some knuckles from the caddy. And for good reason there, a great shot. As we go to Hanna, this is her long look for birdie. We'll be able to tap in a par. Rachel with her chance there, but finding some difficulties here on hole 10. We see Henna. Unfortunately, off the right side. I think well known that Henna is an incredible thrower of the disc, but often finds her struggles on the green. We see that there. And we go to Kristin now. Her opportunity to secure the birdie and increase her separation from the field. And a great catch to the applause of the crowd. Some really good energy here. As Rachel does card the bogey, had the chance at par after the errant tee shot. But very difficult from there. As we see Henna and Hanna both take their pars. A mixed bag here for our feature card. Here you see hole 11, a par 3 at 102 meters, once again following the very thematic decision of this course design, utilizing this park style layout. You have many great trees along the fairway, as well as once you get to the green with hanging branches offering you the low ceiling. This one with OB behind as well, but even a few smaller trees there to catch your disc before that OB. Given the distance as well as the low ceiling, it is pretty hard to go long here, and this does require a pretty serious shot. Kristin playing the height to get under the low ceiling, but doesn't quite catch that full skip towards the left at the end, although certainly a look on this elevated basket. However, I think just a safe par. We'll see Henna currently sitting at 3 over. I think looking to attack every hole that she can. Going with something slightly more understable on hyzer straight at the basket. Does not turn in time or have the height to break through to the green. We see a lots here from Hanna. A nice stable fairway driver. And a great flight there. She shapes that soft flex beautifully through that intended gap. And Rachel with quite an early release. Although a great straight flying line, she finds herself encircled 2 putting for birdie. Did not look very pleased with it despite another fairly decent result. Although I can relate, hitting your line is much more satisfying than missing it and having still a fine result. I think a common experience for disc golfers worldwide, and pretty solid shot from the scrambly stance there from Henna. Just looking to take the 3. Hole 11, averaging just over par at 3.14 here in round 1. Kristin even giving it a chance, continuing to put the pressure on the field. This is Rachel's look at the birdie. And a beautiful putt. At a critical moment, Rachel executing from circle 2 on the elevated. That's a great break there and a great putt that she finds. Very solid from Rachel. Great bounce back after the bogey on hole 10, quickly eliminating that damage to the scorecard as we go to Hanna here. And a very solid birdie putt for her as well. Even throwing up the fist bump, you see what it means to her. Now sitting at 3 over. Tied with Henna. As she does secure her par there. Kristin as well looking to simply tap in the 3. Both Rachel and Hanna taking a stroke on their card mates as we look to go down the stretch of the back 9. Here you see quite a daunting hole 12. A par 5 sitting at 237 meters. You have this initial gap off the tee between the trees, and you want something with straight to then rightwards movement. As you break out into the second leg of the fairway, it goes straight with OB on all sides. Although quite a generous one, you battle your way up into this well-guarded green, with the basket of course tucked away behind some trees, and everything behind that fence OB as well. A very attackable hole, but given the distance as well as the many trees and being a par 5, you really need 3 good shots and a good putt, compared to a par 3 where you might only need 1 good shot or 1 good putt to find the birdie. These longer par 4s, par 5s are asking for more. There's more variables that come into play. Hanna here going with the hyzer release on the left side and does kick off that wall back into center fairway. Rachel's forehand shaping really nicely here for this tee shot, pushing the width and then fading out to the right. Quite a nice spot to be. Curious to see if Kristin will go forehand or backhand here. He's very capable of both. I think the forehand certainly shaping most naturally, and you see she makes that decision as well. But a slightly early release finds her contending with those trees and looks to have sat down safe again. Fortunate to not kick into any danger zones. And Henna here, less familiar with the forehand shots off the tee, shaping a beautiful backhand, left to right shape and just flattening out at the end. Really nice use of the width. We go to Kristin first, who had an early connection with the right side tree line. But able with a solid placement shot to put herself back into the fairway. Pretty much bringing birdie out of play there, but still very much in play for a manageable par. Hanna just getting caught up on the very last tree before that opening. I think she got far enough to still try and manufacture a line to the green from her lie. We see Rachel here off of her forehand shot, getting a nice left to right shape with the backhand as well. And that's pretty much ideal where Rachel is to continue attacking. We go to Henna. Great drive off the tee as she's looking to shape a long turned over shot. A lot of height because I think it was probably most likely quite an understable disc to ensure the left to right movement, but with that much nose up does not find the extended turn and fades out early left. Kristin here getting that extended turnover shot. Great control of her angles. I think, turned it over a little bit early, but certainly in play here. Hole 12 only had 14% of the FPO field find the birdies here today in round 1. Quite a difficult hole for the birdie rate, but par coming in at 44%, definitely significantly friendlier when playing for par. And Rachel with a brutal kickback off that tree before the green. She'll be left with a lot of distance and what looked to be a decent line on that upshot, just not able to break on through. Henna as well, finding an obstacle on her way, but kicking laterally rather than backwards leaves her with no problem at all. Kristin even able to give it a jump putt. And Hanna with a beautiful putt. We get another fist bump out of her as she strings together 2 birdies in a row. Let's take a look at this once again in the replay. Just a flick of the wrist, the trust commitment, guides it in with the back leg. Great putt by Hanna. And Rachel as well, riding the wave. A great putt for her as well. Both of them able to secure the birdie here on hole 12, joining that 14% of players. Very nicely done. And Henna as well, no stranger to the birdie. Flashes a smile at the camera. And we see Kristin with the par. Each of the other competitors taking a stroke on our leader here on hole 12. Here we take a look at hole 13. A 223-meter par 4. You see as the drone flies here over out of bounds, once you cross this white line to the left, you return back in bounds, where you have this long, narrow fairway. You really want to push as much distance as you can over the out of bounds for the right-handed backhand, fading back in off the tee, leaving you a straight to rightwards shot for your second to try and attack the green. If you have a big backhand and then a big forehand, it shapes most naturally for the right-handed players. Otherwise, you'll need to get a little bit tricky. This is also one of the most difficult holes, averaging more than an entire stroke over par at 5.19. Oh, we see Hanna just barely sneak back in bounds after flying OB the entire way. Was really unclear from the flight if that was going to make it, but looks like she just did. Rachel, though, much safer throughout the flight, and a fine spot to be. This might be another hole where Henna looks to push the distance, although one of the most difficult birdies. You can just simply play for par and take a stroke on the field. Henna still looking to get this one out there, and a nice use of the width, really trusting that fade at the end. Kristin with a very similar line to Rachel, both of them erring to the side of caution on that hyzer angle, fading to the left. Really no reason to bring that right side OB into play at all. I think really only happening if someone accidentally overturns the disc or grip locks it. As we go to Hanna, who snuck her way inbounds. Still a lot of distance left. Just like that, she chips away at the fairway distance. In a good position to try and play for par from there. I see Kristin as well with the placement shot, just spiking the hyzer into the hill. Rachel here looking to do the same, not entertaining any thought of a turnover or power forehand. Simply works her way up there into center fairway. Very few birdies here on a hole 13. The play for par is pretty smart. As Henna looked to get aggressive with a high turnover line. Catches some branches and does fall center fairway. No worries on that. See Kristin's approach into the green now on hole 13, sitting at 3 under, putting together a very solid round so far. Looks to be an amazing touch on this shot. Slides up just shy of bullseye. Very smooth from Kristin. As we go now to Hanna. Looking to play the hyzer, does find the skip and keeps it in bounds. Really contending with that long OB, but no problems for her there. Henna able to opt for the standstill backhand. Just a smooth touch and delivery. A little bit short, but with that OB long, it is the side that you want to play to. Although it will leave her with a longer putt. Something that she isn't always the most comfortable with. Rachel here now looking to play the overstable approach. Just like that, clean and cut. Rachel taking a stress-free 4 on 13. A hole that had over 70% of the field play bogey or above. Pretty significant statistic there. Speaking to the dangers. Henna with a great translation there, able to secure the par. Still sitting at 2 over for the round. Has the remaining 5 holes to try and close out strong and work her way back towards that even point. Hanna able to secure the par save. No worries for her there. As we move now to Kristin. And a rare miss from her. From inside the circle. Just didn't look like the right release point for her. But surely going to clean that up. And that was initially for par. Then netting her the bogey. While unexpected, every putt here demanding your focus on the biggest stage. The other 3 feature card players taking the par. Here you see hole 14, a par 4 at 172 meters, one of, if not the most attackable of the par 4s on the layout. This one at only 172 allows 2 pretty solid placement shots. The first one you can just push out straight, and the second requiring a right to left movement for the right-handed players, a backhand. You see players will really aim to get about 90 or so meters off the tee to then throw roughly 80 into the green. And quite a generous width to the fairway. Early on, you can try and hit the middle, but if you go left or right, it's normally quite okay, unless it's extremely severe. And it will, of course, alter the angle of your entrance into the green, depending on which side of the fairway you end up in. Hanna with a very solid drive off the tee. She will be more to that right side. Will be forced to play more of a big hyzer into the green from there. Rachel here, using the understability, going hyzer to the left side of the initial gap and turning it over the entire flight, was never able to find its fade. Henna really pushing this one down there as well, being to the right side fairway. She did have to push that OB a little bit, but really safe the entire way. And she'll have a great look at the green from there. Kristin, similar to Hanna, just playing the stock hyzer, which will open up the hyzer for the second line into the green as well. So we see Rachel look to find herself a chance at the putt, and she has done just that. Pretty solid hyzer shape from her. Unclear on the distance from that angle how much she is left with, but certainly workable from there. So we see the crowd peer over at Kristin's approach. And to no surprise, they absolutely love it. Good shot by Kristin there. Hanna playing quite a high spiking angle and not able to beat the last tree. I think a little bit of a flatter or wider release would have benefited her there. But still up there and putting. And we see for Henna, pretty good spot that leaves her totally open look and quite short into the green. An ideal way to play this hole. We go to Rachel, who is just outside the circle. This is Hanna now. And she finds the cage, but unable to get its weight distributed into the chains there. She sort of dances around the outside of the basket. No dancing around anything there for Henna. Secures her second birdie of the back nine after some early bogeys and continuing to chip away, sitting at 1 over currently. We see Hanna from just outside bullseye. And a very solid birdie from our leader there, Kristin. Good bounce back after 13, and you saw quite a lot of force in her putt, even from that short range, really ensuring not to make a similar mistake. Kristin with a good adjustment, showing the mindset of a champion. We see here hole 15, a 201 meter par 4. Once again, some beautiful trees offering you the low ceiling to navigate underneath. A lot of players will go with a sharper disc and really try to push one out as far as they can. A lot of their second throws will need to lay up before this pond, right near this sign, as they are then offered this entrance into the green over the water hazard. This one a very difficult birdie and a very fine par. Another par 4 that averaged more than 1 stroke over at 5.17 for the FPO field here in the first round. Henna looking to navigate the height nicely, and beautiful forwards pushing skip on that. Really came at an opportune moment for her. We'll see if she chooses to get aggressive from that good drive. I think still not far enough to really comfortably try and get to the green. But certainly a good shot. Kristin also keeping it just a touch low as required by the trees there. We see from Hanna there, slightly high shot with a lot of hyzer. Rachel here with the opportunity to make a correction to the height. And you see just that, she is forwards pushing. Never quite got it up to flat, but certainly able to get through cleanly. And you just have to have such a good drive in order to be playing for birdie and going to the green on your second. Hanna there with simply another placement shot. That will still be quite a tough par save for her. You want to push as close as you can before the pond if you're playing the layup. As we see that from Kristin there. Rachel looking to shape the standstill backhand. Getting it out on the soft flex. A well-shaped shot. This is Hanna's third, meaning she is effectively playing for bogey from where that lie is. Should be able to cross over into the green. Henna doing some research here. And I think she's decided it's go time. She feels she has the distance and the accuracy, and look at that. Finds herself on the green, putting for birdie on one of the most difficult holes on the course. Great execution by Henna, taking full advantage of her power there. Hanna playing the traditional hyzer entrance into the green and almost rings it up. Even hits the pin. We see a smile and nod from her. Great approach shot. Always nice to use the basket itself as the backstop. Rachel there with a great shot, able to access the green. Very smooth. She's currently sitting at even with 4 to go. The end of this round may determine quite a lot for her standings tomorrow. And Kristin, buttery smooth, right up into bullseye. Picture perfect approach there. As we go to Henna. Very nice. Getting her round back to even now with her third birdie of the back 9. She's continued to battle and really able to continue playing some great disc golf despite some early struggles. For Rachel as well now, riding the par train, and Kristin doing the same. Hanna with the lone bogey. We see here hole 16. Quite a common theme here. This is a par 3 with a low ceiling, OB on all sides at around 100 meters. This one sitting exactly precisely at 101. This is another hole that encourages players to disc up to get through that gap, but also punishes them if they go long with that higher speed disc. Certainly a hole that requires a thoughtful touch and a good disc selection. We see Henna going with an extreme hyzer release and really high. I think a very understable disc if she's trying to push it at those sort of angles. Kristin catching the early tree, second tree on the right side, getting shut down before she can find a lot of the flight. Rachel here. Look at this line though. So pure and so true the entire way. Straight to the green. And Hanna now. She'll give herself a long look, although with the elevated basket, certainly a tough decision to make. Late in the round, you're very aware of your standings potentially, and that might influence players' decision making. You see Kristin here shaping the forehand hyzer, and it looks to be a great width and speed. She settles it down just outside the bullseye. Some great clean work for our leader there. As we take a look at Henna, actually choosing to go to this very awkward low patent pending knee. The knee opening up the ceiling and the patent pending opening up the width. She pushes OB long and the crowd gives it a look. They are not sure. Unclear at the moment. Rachel here. Henna continuing to have the intermittent struggles on the green. She's been pretty good so far on the back nine, but on the front nine was having a few difficulties. We see Kristin here. Easy par, no damage done. Still sitting at 3 under for the round. We'll see in just a few holes remaining how that compares to the field. Thoughtful, routine-oriented player there, doing everything she can to work on that putt. And it's good to see. Unfortunately, they're having to save the double bogey, but regardless, some good composure there. I think giving every thought the attention, every throw rather, the thought and attention that it needs will go a long way. We see from Rachel there, another stress-free par. Still riding even, will have 2 holes remaining to try and fight her way underneath it. Another super pure, iconic tunnel shot. We see here, hole 17. It says par 3 at 99 meters, but this one is playing significantly more going uphill, probably around 110 or 115 meters. You see halfway through the fairway that Mando tree on the right, and really this is about controlling your angles, keeping it in the fairway, and avoiding kicks to any side as there is OB looming to the left, right, and long. We have Kristin up first here, throwing one of her Tour Series graces, and look at the line. Even the skip off the path for good measure, giving her that extra bite of distance. That is a line, absolutely perfect textbook shot for Kristin. As you see Rachel also with a great throw there, working her way up. Hanna with an early release finds left side trees. We expect to see Henna here Really give this one a chance. And that just did not flip enough for her. Finding quite an overstable finish left the entire way. She bleeds out of the available fairway. Rachel with a smooth upshot. Hanna as well, just a tiny bit closer than Rachel. Here on hole 17, 50% of the field was taking the par in the FPO division. And you can see why. Just such a treacherous and difficult birdie. Kristin with the chance to find that here, the elusive 2 on hole 17, and it's a beautiful putt off a beautiful drive. That is an incredible hole to try and separate from the field on, as she looks to end her first round out strong, sitting at 4 under so far. Even Rachel feeling that energy there, walking up to her putt now. And Rachel still at even going into the final one. We see Henna secure the bogey. Hanna with the par. Kristin taking a stroke, if not 2, on her card mates. And what an iconic final hole 18. An elevated tee leaves you with this wide open look back towards the amphitheater and tee of hole 1. This par 4 sits at 161 meters. Once again, this white line marking the inbounds area to the left side and the out of bounds to the right side of that white line. You have a straight to leftwards movement. Your second shot then swinging back to the right into the green, trying to putt for birdie. This one even potentially eagleable for some of those players with a big arm. The opportunity is in the air. At 161 downhill. I think this one playing more like 130 or so. As we see our leader, Kristin Tattar, on the tee. And she pushes all the way, making it cleanly off the skip. The gallery there loving that one. Kristin finds herself safe with a long eagle putt and a very manageable birdie look. Rachel as well with some solid distance. She finds this one a touch nose up, although the height will allow her a lot of fade towards safety. And we see just that there. Hanna as well, erring to the side of caution to the left. She digs that one. This hole actually coming in as one of the easiest of the day, averaging 3.64. You can see that with 2 solid placement shots and a fairly short distance for a par 4 downhill at 161. It is very attackable. You see from Henna, a great drive, almost pin high. We'll give her a long look at the eagle putt. Hanna with a great delivery, as she'll be tapping out for the birdie and ending her round at 2 over. Still competitive with many rounds left to go. We head to Rachel, left with this short upshot. We had 50% of the field find the birdie here. This is Kristin for her eagle. Oh, just so close. As you feel the crowd riding that wave. This is Henna for her 2. And she finds it to close out her round. Henna Blomroos with the eagle 2 on hole 18. pushing her score to just 1 over. What an incredible way to end out the round from Henna, separating from the field with her distance on both the shot and the putt. Some great disc golf being played there. And Rachel connecting for her birdie as well. Ending at 1 under for the round. That under par, really a respectable shooting here. As we see from Kristin, the tap in par, and for Hanna as well. Both of them with a great performance here. Kristin sitting at 5 under after the first round. And as we see where that leaves our feature card, as many of them moving their way onto the lead card for round 2. Kristin Tattar, your sole leader, with a 4-stroke lead already in this first round over Rachel, who has found herself in solo second. Tied in third, Evelina Salonen and Silva Saarinen, 2 incredible Finnish players who are pushing the podium finishes at every event. Henna from our card, having a great ending, fought her way to solo 5th, and an exciting battle ensuing surely. We have 3 rounds left to go in this tournament. We appreciate you joining us here for this round 1 coverage. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're feeling extra supportive, check out the Patreon. I hope you enjoyed this round. I know I did. And I look forward to meeting you once again in round 2.